Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ignorant Intellectual on Media. Today, I thought we'd do a thrift store haul. I've been out to the thrift stores the last couple of days and picked up some pretty good stuff. And previous videos, I talked about how I ended up getting really lucky and finding some Franklin Library leather-bound editions, and you don't really come across those in thrift stores very often because they're usually either sold directly by the owner or given to others as gifts or through inheritance and things like that because they are valuable books and they are worth some money, right? So that was kind of cool. But I ended up again finding some good stuff in the thrift stores around uh, my area, which I don't come across all that often. I said previously that I've never found any boutique cinema label films in thrift stores other than the occasional Kino Lover or Criterion. Well, it just so happens that I found some Criterion stuff today, so which is quite rare. Anyways, I'll show it to you. All right, so let's start. First, I want to show you this book that I haven't come across in years. And then I came across it, and that's this huge volume of all the original Sherlock Holmes stories that were in the Strand newspaper, and they kind of kept the same font and the same. They included all the pictures that were in the newspaper and everything else. It's a really nice edition. Uh, Still in great shape. I'm going to put it in Mylar and, good stuff. And you can read all the stories, the Hound of the Baskervilles and other, even the shorter stuff. Because he wrote, I can't remember how many, like, mostly it was mostly, shorter stories where Holmes would investigate some sort of crime, right? But then he wrote a maybe two or three, uh, serials that were large enough to be considered novels, right? Like The Hound of the Baskervilles was one of them, right? Anyways, this is basically his complete Conan Doyle's complete um, Sherlock Holmes library, all in one volume. And it's an oversized book, hardcover. It's a nice edition. I should be able to resell it pretty easily. I have all of his stories in a leather-bound edition, or actually, I think it's two or three volume leather-bound edition from. Is it from Franklin? No, I think it's from the Easton Press. So I don't really need that one. All right. And then I also found this one, which is the Chronicles of Narnia. Basically, all seven books, all seven, all seven of the books in one box set. And the box, whoever had this before they donated it, really didn't take care of it very much. Maybe it was in their kids' room or whatever, right? So the box actually, and the box is pretty flimsy, anyways, right? Anyways, I think this came out in and around the time that The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe hit the theaters, and because they kind of use it to promote now a major motion picture. But as you can see, somebody taped over the box to make it secure because it ripped here. Um, all the volumes are in really nice condition, but the actual box itself not in great shape. But I found this for like $4. I found the Sherlock Holmes one for $4 as well, and um, I have no real interest in reading these, so I just whenever I find them, uh, trying to sell these individual volumes is pretty much impossible. So don't bother doing it. But when you do find them all in a set like this is extremely easy to sell. So I can probably sell this for, because of its condition. New, it was $60. So I could probably sell this for maybe 20. And I found it, like I said, for 4. Um, I also found this book, Samuel Lover Handy Andy. All right. This is basically what, mid 1800s Irish literature. Samuel Lover was quite a satirist back in George Bernard Shaw days, right? He wrote a bunch of different fictions, but he was also an artist. He was a painter and other things. So, but this is probably his most famous novel, which is basically a bunch of stories of Irish life back in the mid 1800s, right? and it's full of that Irish wit and satire that Ireland became quite famous for through their writers, right? So everybody I've ever come across reading this, I haven't read it yet, and I don't come across very many people who have read it, but those that have read it find it quite hilarious. So if you ever come across it, um, maybe you'll enjoy reading it. I wonder if he's at Stephen Leacock's level of humor, but anyway, so this is part of the Everyman library. Remember, I told you I collect the Everyman library. This is the original. So they were actually smaller when they first started coming out, and then they made a larger edition, and this is number 178 in the library. So it's probably a reprint from one of the smaller editions, right? And it's in surprisingly good shape for a book this old, right? This is probably came out in the 70s, right? My guess, probably because when you see this on the cover, it's usually the latest and last version of the library, right? So this one is all rights reserved, 1961. So 1961 this came out, but surprisingly, the cover is really nice. Just one tear here, but it's still got that bright yellow color and everything. It's like 60, 70-year-old book, right? And the actual, it still has. They didn't cut this part off. You see that a lot in used books, right? So because they want to cut off the pricing for it, because it's a lot of the time it's usually given as gift, and it's the latest, the last version of this spine. This, right. So, anyways, it's a really nice edition. I didn't have it. One of the volumes I didn't have, so I can add that to my library. And I found this book, Jordan Peterson, the Canadian, University of Toronto um, therapist, uh, psychologist, who got into all that controversy back a few years ago when he addressed Parliament, saying that their addition of gender pronouns and things like that added to the exempt list for discrimination was a mistake because they were trying to force people's speech, and that's never happened in the history of the Western world of English common law, as he always says when you watch his videos on YouTube. And there's a difference between telling people not to say something and legislating that in uh, and telling people that they have to say something and legislating that. Um, so he had a big problem with that, and he ended up, on the panel of experts arguing when it came to that, right? But I think it was Bill C-16. It was called anyways. It passed anyways, so now it's law. So basically, the government can compel your speech when when somebody wants you to address them in certain pronouns, right? So, anyways, this was probably his most famous book, and it's been read by millions. And it's basically the 12 rules for life. And he actually puts the 12 rules right on the first page, and then he goes into each rule, right? And I think maybe he was like did 10 rules, and then he added to just to be a little bit humorous because the first 10 are like good advice. The 11th and the 12th seem to be a little bit facetious, but I don't know, maybe it's just me because rule 11 is do not bother children when they are skateboarding. I don't know, maybe if you do, you'll get your ass kicked. I have no idea. And rule number 12 is pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. So I'm not sure what that, anyways, I'd have to read it. But millions of people have, and so I found it for $2, so I figured I'd pick it up and read it, see what all the interest is in it. All right, so that's the books. Now let's do the movies. So I went into one thrift store yesterday, and it seems like a person was culling or whatever their library of films and decided to get rid of French erotic cinema, or like not porn or anything, but just the French are famous for that erotic tinge to a lot of their cinema, right? And there's a few actors or actresses that are associated with Brigette Bardot would be one. She's really and a few others. Anyway, so I went in and I found a whole collection of stuff from French directors doing French erotic drama and cinema, right? So the first thing I found was this box set of 7 of Brigitte Bardot's films, all right? And that was Brigitte Bardot, all right? Right. Anyways, it's all DVDs. None of these are Blu-rays, right? So it's on 4 discs. These 7 films. So basically, each disc has 2 movies on it. So I don't know how uh, clear the films are, but anyways, and it's in French. So I don't think it's region B though. I think it's, or sorry, region 2. I think it's, yeah, it's DVD 9. This is out of Montreal actually, so it's North American. Anyway, so 7 of her films, which are Les Grandes Manœuvres, Don Juan, et Dieu créé la femme, or that one I know, that one's God Creates Woman. Um, then they have a documentary. DVD 2 is on, I'm going to brutalize these French names here. I'll put it like that, and you can read it. All right. Histoire extraordinaire, parisienne, la bijoutière de Clair de Lune, en effeuillant la Marguerite. Anyway, so films in the 50s and 60s um, with Brigitte Bardot starring. And then I also found this, La Bride sur le cou, another Brigitte Bardot film. I'm hoping these are French language films, and hopefully they have English subtitles. Otherwise, I wasted my money. And Catherine Deneuve was another uh, Brigitte Bardot kind of actress, and this is Heartbeat. All right. So this is part of the World Films collection. Here's another one. All right, with another Catherine Deneuve. That's Mississippi Mermaid. All right. And who directed these? Who directed this one? Francois Truffaut. And who directed this one? By Françoise Sagan. Right, so 2 Catherine Deneuves. Then we have Sex and Lucinda. All right. This one is directed by Julio Medem. All right. So all these are kind of erotic cinema coming out of France, right? So, and then he also got rid of his French erotic cinema that was included in the Everyman library. In the Criterion Collection. The Lovers. All right. So I found this in a thrift store. I got this for $1.50. All right. Number 429 in the collection. The Lovers. All right. This is Louis Malle. Um, and this one stars Jean Moreau, which was another one of those gorgeous French actresses in erotic cinema in France. And then I also found a God Created Woman, which was part of that set, but this is the Criterion version of it. And this stars Brigitte Bardot, right? And it is number 77 in the library, both DVDs, so they're not Blu-rays. So, but $1.50. Everything was $1.50. And then I also found this, which is Sasha Guitry's entry into the Eclipse series, and this is number 22 in the series. Basically, has 4 of his films. All right, The Story of a Cheat, Desiree, The Pearls of the Crown, and Quadrille. All right. And I think, which one? I think it's one of them. Quadrille, I think, is basically another one of the, the erotic type of cinemas, if I remember correctly. I haven't seen these films yet, but I do collect the all the Eclipses. I don't know. I have like probably 15 of the volumes so far, and this one I didn't have, so that's cool. So I'll add that to the collection, and I think that's everything. So this will be a quick video. So basically, the guy didn't matter if it was an Eclipse or a Criterion or a regular world film or whatever. He just decided he didn't want any of the French actresses in his collection anymore. I guess he got bored of the erotic side of French cinema, got rid of it and donated to a thrift store. So not too bad. I got a book to add to my collection. Oh, I forgot the last one. Let's do this one. Um, you know, uh, so I got. We'll do the last one. So I got this one to add to my Everyman collection. So I'm one more down in that, and I have uh, two more to add to my Criterion collection. So I'm past 500 of those now, and I think I'm maybe 15 of however many there are in the Eclipse collection. So get to add that, and then last, I end up what I'm doing in my basement is I have. If you notice behind me, these are all those IKEA. I don't know how to pronounce it. GNETRY, I think they're called. Media towers, right? You see them all. Well, they surround my whole. They're basically against almost every wall in my den or my basement. Um, these ones are all the same color. They're kind of like an a cherry kind of off cherry kind of mahogany colored, right? Which matches well. But over here, what I was doing was I didn't care what the color of them was. I just wanted a certain price that I wanted to pay for them, which was $20 or less per tower, which all of these are, and a majority of them are either tan or black, right? So, but I did get a bunch that are this color. So this color matches my basement because my desk and my coffee table and my display cabinet are all like that cherry red kind of color, and then I have shelving that's kind of cherry red as well, like bookcases, and the rest is black. So the beige don't really match. So now that I basically have all of them all set up where I want to set up with them, now I'm slowly changing all the beige ones out for black ones. So all all the shelving matches it. It's not like a beige and a darker beige and then a red or whatever, a white or whatever, right? They're all going to be black, right? So I bought a couple of Calyx uh, shelving units as well, and they're black, so everything will match up properly. Right now, the beige is kind of standing out and not looking correctly. So what I've been doing is I've been buying when I come across people selling them that are black, color black, I'll go buy them, and then I'll take a unit out and replace it with a black one, and then I'll sell that unit, right? So it's kind of just exchanging, buy it for 20 or sell it 25 or 15, and then take the shelf out or the tower out and replace it with a black one, and then sell that tower and get my money back, right? So far I've found three black ones so far, so I still got another maybe maybe 12 more to replace, and then I think my basement, my den will be complete on everything that I want and everything in its place or whatever, right? Oh, and I also added a fridge, like a half fridge, a mini fridge for drinks and stuff. I'm filling it up with juice and soft drinks and beer, but the 0% beer. I like beer, but I quit smoking like a decade or so ago, and every time I would have a beer and start feeling not really drunk but intoxicated, I would want to have a cigarette and not smoking it. I screwed up like three times before I actually quit. So I said, there's no way I'm going to be able to quit smoking without quitting drinking alcohol as well. So um, I had a son coming, and I didn't want to, have him breathing in secondhand smoke. And I'm not a younger man, so I wanted to live as long as I could to see my son grow up. So I just quit smoking and I quit drinking. Now, when I do have a beer, it's a 0% alcohol beer. So I fill that up with the fridge with the beer that way. Um, so if I feel like having a beer, I can just have one. I don't have to worry about the alcohol and maybe starting smoking again or whatever, right? So, um, because your defenses kind of go down when alcohol is consumed. So I have a fridge. It's built into this unit, the shelving unit that I have in this wall. When we bought the place, it was here, and it had a built-in place for it, and I pulled it out because my desk is in the way of it. And now I have the fridge out, and I use it for drinks and things like that. So that's another addition. I got to figure out a place for it because I can't put it where it is because this section is is where my mini office is, right? So, all right. So that's everything. And the last Criterion, I found a Criterion. Anyway, so the reason why I was telling you that was because when I replaced one of the beige shelf with a black shelf, and I was selling that tower. The guy said he would trade. So I looked at his inventory, and he had this in his inventory, which is Bamboozled, which is a Spike Lee film I didn't have yet. Um, Part of the Criterion Collection. It's number 1019. And I said, okay, I'll trade you this for the tower. And so he came, got the tower, and dropped off this one, right? Now, this is a pretty recent one. This is basically Spike Lee's, I think it came out in 2000, if I remember correctly. And it's his play on the whole blackface um, controversy, when 10 Dads and had the blackface and all that. Well, he decided to make a movie about it, and it's all about this Harvard graduate African American guy who is working for a television network and keeps creating these shows that his boss, who doesn't like him very much, just rejects all the time, right? And he's gotten sick of it, so he wants to get fired so he can go elsewhere. So what he does is he decides to play a trick on everybody, and he brings back the old minstrel TV shows that you got back in the early days of cinema, with the blackface and everything on it. And, it's pretty derogatory towards African Americans, right? So he decided he would do that thinking that he would get fired. But what ends up happening is that show ends up becoming very popular on the network, and he ends up becoming famous. The actors that are doing the blackface now with black uh, actors, it's not white actors, or there may be one white actor. Um, and Yeah, there was one white actor that played blackface, but it was a blackface minstrel show, and it ended up becoming popular. So it was Spike Lee's way of kind of showing Hollywood history and its racism towards the descendants of slaves, basically, right? So and the ending of it, from what I understand, because I haven't watched it yet, the ending of it, he shows a whole bunch of early Hollywood cinema. Um, Depicting how Hollywood cinema depicted African Americans throughout its history, right? It's pretty powerful stuff. So overall, this was a bomb, if I remember correctly, because I didn't hear about it until after, and it started having a cult following, right? So, um, and then Criterion picked it up. So yeah, so I'll watch it, see if it's as good as everybody says it is. But it didn't do well in the theater. So, anyways, so that's Bamboozled by Spike Lee. Number 1019 in the Criterion Collection, one more down. So I'm on my way to 600, trying to get up to, I think there's 1200, around 1200 in the library now. So I'm almost halfway there. We'll see. I slowly add more and more to it. All right. And that's everything. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave me a thumbs up. Think about subscribing. I would appreciate that. And you have a great day, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye for now.